Hey everybody, Ryan here. So a lot of people ask me what my graphic settings are while I'm on stream or commenting on a video. And so finally I thought I would just make a video about my graphic settings. And now here's the thing, if you're expecting some special tweaks or anything, you'll be sorely disappointed because I run the game on absolute maximum everything. There is no setting that I have disabled, turned off, turned low, nothing like that. It's all on high, very high, maximum, full slider. The only thing that I do have turned off is the lens flare, which honestly doesn't really help with visibility that much at all. And that brings me to just a quick point before I dive into the actual settings that I do have that are different than most people, is that I don't prioritize visibility over all else, because if I did, I would just play on ultra low quality. I like playing my games as immersively as possible, so I prioritize graphical quality over sweaty competitive settings most of the time. However, that being said, let's go over some quick settings before I dig into the one special thing that I do. And for that, let's go into a test drive. So even though I just said I prioritize immersion and realism in my graphics, I will say that you need to change this one setting. That being in the options in ground vehicle battle settings and grass and tank sight right at the top. Just turn that off, and then you can see the vehicle that was behind that patch of grass. And now, even though I don't personally do this, I will mention it because I know somebody is going to comment about it. So as you can see here, I'm looking into the dirt. However, if you go into third person, you can see that my barrel is actually pointing at the T90 in the distance. And this is because what you're looking at right here is ground tessellation. And so the setting that you want to change, if you choose to be one of those people that wants to have every advantage possible, is going to be terrain quality. Just turn it all the way down, and that will allow you to essentially see the true hitbox of the ground. Now, however, with all of that being said, you can work around this without changing the setting. As you can see, I've been demonstrating by using third person. So you can actually do things like this, where you pre-laze, peek up, and as soon as your reticle shows that you're no longer obstructed, you can fire in third person. And I know that was at 700 meters, but it works very well in closer ranges too. Like you can see here, we got this IT-1. As soon as the reticle goes over the terrain, you just take the shot. And I was demonstrating it on the grassy terrain, but it's actually even worse on snow and sand. Anyways, the last quick thing about my settings I have to share with you is my PostFX settings. Now, you don't have to match these values exactly, and honestly, I really have no idea what they do. I just adjusted them until the colors looked nice. And this is without my PostFX settings. This is with, without, with. On the base game dynamic lookup table, you know, it's brighter, but the colors are just so washed out. And so I just stick with my PostFX settings. I like how it looks. Sometimes the game is too dark. If you're one of those people that wants maximum visibility at all times, you might not run my settings, you might tweak them. It's up to you. And also just folding this setting in with the PostFX section, I do have digital vibrance on plus 60% in the NVIDIA control panel. And now for the one setting that I would recommend you to use if you have the ability to, and that is called DLDSR. And no, that is not DLSS. So as you can see here, I'm running at 4K resolution, 3840 by 2160, but my native resolution and my monitor is actually 1440p, 2560 by 1440. And this is using NVIDIA's DLDSR function, which is available only on RTX graphics cards, I believe, because the name of this is actually Deep Learning Dynamic Super Resolution, which takes a higher resolution output and scales it down using deep learning AI cores or whatever to your native resolution. And some of you may be wondering, why don't I just use SSAA? Well, for example, right now in the hangar, I'm getting around 130 FPS, but with SSAA, I believe I see around 100 or 110. However, in actual gameplay, it matters much more, and the latency hit of DLDSR is much more manageable than SSAA. SSAA is just very inefficient. And so right now I'm just showing me killing a couple things, making some effects happen in the test drive, and pretty much never drop below 90 FPS. Latency never really goes above 15 to 16 milliseconds. And now here's a quick test of me using 1440p with 4 times SSAA and nothing else different. So sitting here looking down the test range, pretty much averaging 85 FPS, and around 15.5, 16 milliseconds of latency. And when I scope in, gain a little bit of FPS and a little bit lower latency, shoot a vehicle, and the FPS drops down to about 60, high 50s, latency increases to around 20. There we had a latency spike up to 30 milliseconds, just due to the frame rate, of course. And also, unfortunately, you need a dedicated capture card to actually record the DLDSR output. So I can't actually show you guys what DLDSR looks like on my end. The closest you can get to it is actually using SSAA. So if you want to see what DLDSR would look like on your end, use the 4x SSAA option and give it a shot. And yes, with DLDSR, I'm also using TAA at maximum temporal resolution scale. This just provides like the most stable image that you can get, pretty much. There's almost zero shimmering, there's no aliasing, there's nothing. It's just a sharp, stable image. And of course, you could go into PostFX and use some extra sharpness, but I'm not really into that. Sharpness just looks really weird to me, so I just have it all disabled. And now, just briefly, I'll show you how to actually turn on DLDSR. As you go down into your system tray and you find the NVIDIA control panel, or find it however else you wish, and it should default you to the Manage 3D Settings page, but if not, then go there. And then in the Global Settings tab, you want to go down to DSR Factors. This is Dynamic Super Resolution. And then to use DLDSR, which is Deep Learning Dynamic Super Resolution, you have to enable one of the DL scaling options, and I've gone with the 2.25 times, which for a native resolution of 1440p would be a 4K resolution. And then you just hit OK, of course, and then apply. Even I've already applied it. Your screen will go black for a second, and that's fine. And a slightly unfortunate caveat here: to actually enable DLDSR in War Thunder, you need to select the resolution in the launcher, because if you start the game normally, it just won't let you select the DLDSR resolution. And you also have to run in exclusive full screen, not full screen window. And that's everything that I can think about and remember right now. There may be some other settings I missed. I don't know. If you have any questions, leave a comment, and see you next time. Bye-bye.